welcome back. Today we're at my son's house again, and we're going to go ahead and get this floor prepped to put the LVT laminate flooring down. So we've got this back room, we've got this front room. Autumn's busy moving the trim out of the way that Chase got all painted up, and we've got to do this in some different steps, but we've got this floor leveler here, and it's really not a pour-on type of material that we're using. It's more of a just to feather the joints out, and there's a couple areas where the floor was not perfect, and let me show you real quick. So we've got a couple areas like this that I don't want one end of flooring to meet the other on top of that. That's only about a 1/16 of an inch gap, but we want to get that perfect so that that floor is seamless and flawless going across those joints. So Autumn's busy moving stuff out of the way so we can get to the different floor joints, and we're going to go ahead and get this floor prepped and ready. This one doesn't seem to be too awful bad, but we'll find ones in there that need it, and then we're going to go ahead and get it ready to put the tile down, the flooring down. There's what it looks like there. It's a plank. I think it's 6 feet long and 7 or 8 inches wide. It's a decent flooring. It's got the cork on the back of it, and it's a tongue and groove style. And I've done this type of flooring before. I did it in my entire house. Some different trim areas that we need to do first, and we should be able to get this squared away and taken care of pretty quick, but all the painting is done now. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and apply this to the low side of the seam here. I'll go ahead and get this stuff on. It's kind of like toothpaste almost. I think it's got a little bit of a sandy grit in it to act as I guess a solid surface anyhow, and to keep it from shrinking too awful much. Looks like it's spreading out and going quite a ways, so shouldn't take too awful much. Like I said, it was only about a 1/16 of an inch that there was any kind of gap. Here there's hardly anything but just a little bit of an indent where the boards were crimped or creased on the ends. Nothing too awful bad. There, I think that looks pretty good for the first joint. Alright, I got all the seams all filled in, all the joints, everything's all put together, and should be more than smooth enough for the flooring they're going to put in there. This floor underneath it is the rough cut lumber, which was the attic, and they weren't real worried about how smooth the floor was up in here, so we came in and put new floor joists in all the way through here and refloored it, and did the best we could with what was underneath this. Got it pretty level, got it looking pretty nice. Gonna let this stuff dry for a day or so, and hopefully we'll be able to get back on this and get this project finished up. All right, so we're back a day later, and the floor leveling has dried up. We're ready to go there. One thing that I started working on this morning is this trim piece that goes around the stairwell here. And why we need that is we need a hard edge to bring the flooring up to that so we can put the quarter round on that. We're going to start on this long wall all the way down, and we're going to run it across, then cut out for the stairwell, come up to the top of the steps, and then it's going to come down around, tuck back in and around this corner. And what that 2 pieces of blackboard you see there, those are going to be where the railing attaches into the top of that. And then there'll be a handrail that goes to the side of the wall there, and a spindle or a post that comes from here up. And we want to make that removable because this is such a tight corner to get around that when that railing's in there, they would have to pick up and throw their furniture over the railing to get it up here. So I want to make something a little bit different or unique with being able to remove this railing if and when they bring furniture up here. So we're going to go ahead and get started on laying this flooring out. I've got to chalk a couple lines all the way down so I know that I don't start creeping, and we can just keep double measuring to chalk lines to verify that our spacing off of that wall stays the same the whole way across. The baseboard trim goes over top of that, so you don't want that ever to shrink up in the colder months around here and leave a gap down between the baseboard and the flooring. So we're going to go ahead and mark some lines and get this laid out and get started. Got the flooring started here. Basically stair step it as we go. And what we're doing is keeping it on a straight edge line that we chalked on the floor, which I know you can't see, but there's one out here. And we did a staggered pattern. The first is we cut 2 feet off to make that one 4, because each one of these panels is 6 inches. So we're going 4, 6, 2. Then this one's 4. The next one will be a full one, 6, and 2. So that leaves a little bit of a pattern you can see there. So that's going to be what the seams look like all the way across. And then when we get down to this end, we had to make sure that we didn't end up with a short little sliver at the end. So that's why I picked what I cut off down there. And then that pattern will just work its way all the way across. When we start these out, we put the tongue on the outside edge and the tongue on this edge, and start in that corner. Now, if we would have done it the other way, we would have wanted to start in this corner, but with the steps and everything there, you always want to try with start with your best squarest corner that puts the tongue out on the bottom, same with on the end, and then we work our way across. And our last piece, the way this is going to work out is we started with a full piece and we'll end up with about 3/4 of a piece at that end. But that's just how it's going to end up, because that's in a short wall in a back corner section. So that's going to be more than fine for having the ripped down piece over there on that side. Time lapse, we got the flooring all done. We've got the back edge taken care of. We've got a little bit of an expansion gap all the way across all 4 walls. And what we've done is moved everything that was in that back room out here, all the trim. And we're going to go ahead and start cutting out here now for that back room. And it's going to be a bunch easier because we don't have a stairwell to go around. We didn't have to worry about any of those different things. It's basically just a squared off boxed room. So should be easier. I don't know if it'll go any quicker, but we're going to do the same thing in here. Start in this corner and work our way across and back. We got this room all finished up and head on back to the back room. And there is a little bit of a step difference there when they put the addition on. We've got this room done. Got it all cleaned up. Autumn and Chase were a huge help in putting all this together. It works much easier. These are 6 foot long by 9 inch wide, and it works so much easier when you have one start the gap down here. One's in the middle, holds it up, and one's at the end and holds it up. And you tip it up on almost a 45-degree angle, lower it down in so it connects. and then we take and drive it down this way to lock in the end grain or the end pieces of this, but it really turns out nice. Chase, you happy with it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, but I'm hot and sweaty and glad it's done.
Yeah, and I know we did our house, and Autumn and Chase and Hunter were all involved when we did the flooring there. And it's not a horrible job if you have any kind of mechanical ability at all. You can either use a chop saw or you can use a tile cutter. You can run a tile cutter. It's not a bad job if you can read a tape measure and get it all figured out. You just got to remember that you always want to leave a little bit of a gap, about 1/4 inch on each side for expansion and contraction. And then we'll be putting the base trim on to cover over the flooring all around. We'll put all the door trim in, and we've got a window back here that we're going to finish up, and 2 knee wall doors. So we've got all the trim out here. He's painted it and should be ready to go. And then I guess it comes to figuring out the stairwell here, as well as we're going to be replacing these stair treads, and I think the risers on them. Get those all taken care of and get this room all finished off. We're going to go ahead and frame this window out. And we're going to go ahead and do this doorway here. Got Autumn here today. She's going to give me a hand with keeping the vacuum on the chop saw and trying to keep everything clean as we go. This window looks to be just about exactly 2 feet. So we'll do the bottom and the top of these jambs, and then we'll do the 2 sides. And why I chose the bottom and the top first is it'll put that seam this way at the 2 main joints rather than this way, so where if it shrinks over time, that gap would open up here and it would be much more noticeable than if you have the gap here and it shrinks. You won't see those gaps as bad if the overall length shrinks up a little bit. So that's why I chose to do the top and bottom and then the 2 sides, and then we'll do the trim around the window itself. So we'll go ahead and get these figured out. Got that all cut out. It's put in there. Nice tight joints. I'm gonna go ahead and just sink some nails all the way around here and get her set. And we'll let my son do the joyous job of filling nail holes. Alright, that's all nailed in. Now we're going to do the face trim around it. Got that window all finished out. It's got nail holes in it that need filled, like I said. It's all trimmed out with 1/4 inch reveal on the side for that. We've got to get some more material to do these 2 doors. And we got this door finished out with the inner casement and the trim. That just needs touched up, painted from where I had to rip the thickness down on those, which would be pretty easy to go in there and paint them in. And that's done on that side. And if you come back through, it's done on this side as well. And then we got this door left to do. And then we can start doing around the crown all the way, or not the crown, excuse me, the baseboard all the way around the room. So we're getting there. Just need to go get some more materials. Wanted to give you a quick update on something else that I've been working on, doing the trim and things like that. But I've also been patching in this area here where there was a wall, closet over here, wall that went all the way up, down and around and blocked off this section. So this was like a separate room. But we decided that we would go ahead and patch this in and try and match it and blend it the best we can. I've already put a couple coats on. I've got a wall here to do. This is just the second coat, and I've got to go ahead and feather that way out. Now that gap was rather large, so I had to put some filler pieces in there and then put the tape on it, and hopefully that'll hold. And I'll do this knockdown finish, stomped knockdown finish on that. That'll be flat, but I've got to go ahead and just keep stopping over for maybe an hour or so to get more coats on this to get it blended in. And over on this side, like I said, there's going to be a board that goes up there so the railing can attach into that. But let me go ahead and get a coat of mud back on this here. right, I got all the trim done around in here. Still got some of the tools in. We'll clean this room out here shortly, but got all the base everywhere around the room. Got all the door trim in, got all the door casements in, windows in, trim. I've got to build some doors for here and here. And then there is another door out in the other room that I have to build. But since we've got all this completed, Chase and his mother were pretty excited to go ahead and move a couple pieces of furniture up. Got this all done up here, and they're finishing out some nail holes. He temporarily put a piece of styrofoam in there to help block the heat from coming in here. It's pretty toasty upstairs here, but they're working on filling the last of the holes. I got the board on there, and it'll need painted, as well as coming around here. Made like a, just a box beam there. So that'll give a place to put the railing into. He brought the couch up and got a little window unit air conditioner and a fan for now. But I think that we're pretty much completed with this room. And the transformation turned out to be really, really impressive. Chase, you were saying something, your mother was asking you what you thought, how this was going to end up being, and I guess, was it different than what you originally pictured or not?
It's better. I don't think I thought it was going to take this long or we were going to do this much work, but I'm glad we did because it turned out way better than I hoped for.
We had a period of time there where we didn't really work on this much because Chase has been working a lot of hours, and when he gets home and has to mow the lawn and do chores around the house, he's a happy homeowner now. He's starting to actually see what it's really all about for owning a home. But got this flooring done, and man, what a transformation we did in here. So I give thanks to Chase and Autumn for helping me get this all done. If you enjoyed the video, if you liked what we did up here, don't forget, smash that thumbs up button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. We'll do a little bit more of things like this in the future, but I think we're done now other than building this railing. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.